Hi, my name is Gibson, and I'm the co-owner and creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I'm going to talk about the fearful, avoidant, self-sabotaging, emotionally connected relationships. So let's go into this for a moment, okay? There's some really valuable pieces of information in this question. So there's actually a question from one of our members who we will call MS from inside of our school. And I'm going to read like a little part or a little few snippets from this question because I think it's something fearful avoidance can relate to, and I think it's a really important topic to address. Especially understanding the inner dynamics of what it means to be a fearful avoidant and where some of this can come from. So before I dive in, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel if you're getting a lot of value. I would so appreciate it. And also please know that we are going to continue our sale to support our community, and you can use the coupon code WITHYOU as all one word, and it gives you 25% off our membership bundles for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months. And I will put a link in the description below as well as a card on this video that you can click if you're interested in joining our school and our community while this promotion is going on. So MS says in this video, or in this video, in this question inside of our members lounge, I recently figured out when I take trips away from home, I find a way to sabotage the relationship to the person I am most emotionally connected to. And this person goes on to share a little bit about how they can spend, things can be really good and then they can leave. And after a few days, doubts and stories start to creep in. And then anxiety comes in. And then all of a sudden this person finds themselves, on day 4, like really pushing the person away, and doing things that they know are acts of self-sabotage to sort of create a dynamic, and a lot of panic and pain and horrible emotions come up. And so they're wondering, like, what's going on? What can I do about this? Now, here's exactly what's happening as the individual. Your subconscious mind, and you might have heard me mention this before on this channel, it stores all memories. It consolidates memories. It can change memories ever so slightly over time, but it stores all memories. And more importantly, it stores all memories in the container of emotion. So, or you can think of more like colored with emotion. So for example, if I say to you right now, tell me like this a really painful memory that happened to you, like the most painful one you can think of, you might start telling the story, and as you tell the story, you might start feeling your heart rate increasing, your nervous system responding. Maybe you're like out of breath when you're telling the story, or you get nervous to share vulnerable parts of it and you find yourself kind of shaky and in a stress response. Well, why is that? Especially if that story was something that happened 25 years ago. But what often takes place is that the subconscious has stored all of that memory and all of that emotion attached to it. And so what's really important that we can do as human beings is we can start surfacing these memories, and we can start changing our emotional associations that are programmed in there through a specific set of questions we can ask ourselves, or through specific reprogramming tools. Now, in this individual specific case, here's what's going on. Fearful avoidants often have the experience of having some kind of trauma when there's a disconnection in a relationship. So for example, maybe you feel disconnected from a parent when you know that they're drinking and you're a young child, and that disconnection is, what precedes the disconnect feeling is the person really disconnecting and being really drunk and unpredictable and scary. And so every time there's a disconnect, your subconscious mind programs in these emotional associations to disconnection that are like, disconnection equals I'm unsafe, I'm rejected, I'm unloved. I've heard people say, I thought, a parent didn't love me enough, and if they loved me more, they would stop doing drugs or they would stop drinking. I've heard so many versions of that story over the years. And so, we can give meaning to disconnection that's like, I'm unsafe, I'm unloved. Another big thing is, parents fighting really intensely, whether there's like verbal abuse, whether there's physical abuse in the household. That disconnect for a child, if they're seeing that, is the child feeling totally unseen, totally unheard, totally unsafe, not loved, because the parents are so busy fighting between themselves that child just feels like really out of control. So basically the stored associations, in whatever form that takes, right? There can be lots of different reasons for fearful avoidance. Painful really early childhood experiences, like, 3 years old and younger, all sorts of different dynamics. And I've talked a lot about those different things on the channel, like what can create fearful avoidant attachment style. But in some form, what's for sure is that disconnection for the fearful avoidant has stored associations to a lot of painful other things. And so what happens when we get triggered is a catalyst event happens now, and then what happens is our conscious mind experiences the event in the now, and it goes, what does this remind us of? How should we deal with this? Oh, well, we've established a certain set of specific rules that have helped us survive past experiences. So let's open the filing cabinet of the subconscious mind and dig out those rules, and let's look at what disconnection means. And so it digs out the, disconnection rule book, and it's like, oh my God, disconnection means I'm unsafe, I'm unloved, I'm not wanted, I'm unworthy, etc. And all those core wounds that are encompassed with that. And then all of a sudden, all those emotions are flooding to the surface, and it's like, whoa, and it can be really overwhelming and overpowering. And I see this happen for fearful avoidance when they take trips away from a partner. Fearful avoidance when they're in a long distance relationship, soon after there's distance. All these different, things can bring these sorts of wounds up. So what do we do? Well, your job is to understand what's happening so that you can isolate the problem and then you can work with it. And so in this case, what you would do is you would say, okay, disconnection, or even, it could be more surface. You could say space in a relationship, a change of pattern in a relationship, things that are related to disconnection. What do I make those things mean? And what are the core wounds associated with them? Is it that I'm unsafe, I'm unloved, I'm not cared for, I'm unwanted, I'm unworthy? Distance means that we're going to break up, the relationship's ending. Like, what meaning do you give to that? And then you have to question those stories. And what I also recommend is once you've questioned those stories and given yourself some of that relief, especially by finding equilibrating pieces of evidence for otherwise. So for example, because I haven't seen my partner in 3 days or 4 days, I'm unloved. Can I 100% know that that's true? Okay, no. Okay, what are some pieces of evidence that this person does love me? Oh, they said I love you last night before bed. Oh, they, said they were going to miss me when I went on the trip. They've expressed love consistently throughout the relationship. They text me every day. And once you start giving yourself evidence, you'll find some relief in there relative to what those core wounds or stories are that you're telling at a subconscious level, all of those passing thoughts that are running ever so quickly on autopilot. And then you can actually go share that. If you're in a healthy, loving relationship, it's great to say, hey, I noticed earlier today some things came up for me. And I was feeling like, because of this distance between us, even though it's just for a few days, I noticed that some old wounds came up, and I started feeling like unloved, or like the relationship was going to end. And I know that sounds funny, but something I could really use right now is just some validation and to know that we're safe and we're in a good place. And what I find is that when people do this in couples work that I've done with people, it's so powerful. Like it's such a vulnerable ask, and any loving partner who is worth participating in a relationship with is not going to turn around and be like, oh, what's wrong with you? That's silly. Don't ask for that. If that's your answer, then you're not going to want to stay in that relationship, quite honestly. But what you'll see is that people turn to that and they go, oh my gosh, of course we're safe. Like, of course we're in a good place. I care about you so much. And yeah, if you need me to remind you of that more, I definitely will. And we see really constructive conversations come out of this. So this is what's happening. This is what we can do. Those are all the parts. I hope this is beneficial. I really hope this helps fearful avoidance, any that are experiencing this at any time. And thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.